rather small. The biggest employer was the civil service. A lot of people didn't see themselves being able to get jobs. We had record unemployment. But what still was the hopelessness which was leading young people to see traveling as the only option. And not just traveling regularly, traveling irregularly and being trafficked. I believe it was in January 2017 or thereabout when I got the statistics from the International Office on Migration. And at that point, there were almost 30,000 young Edo boys and girls in Libya trying to cross to Europe. So you can imagine how many would have died to get to Libya. And for me, it was very scary and very disturbing. And when we started working on their returns, we were able to document them, have data to begin to understand the root causes of the problem. And we found out it was first because we had an economy that was not growing, because we had an educational system that had collapsed. And these kids didn't just have the right education, and therefore they just didn't see the pathway to success and employment. And we just had a government structure which was just owned by the people in government, who didn't really see their purpose as providing services to the people of the state. So against that background, if we now, that's how we came up with our program, our 6-pillar program, where we now condensed the challenges into 6 core areas we had to focus on. First, rebuilding our institutions, particularly government, getting the civil service to work, getting government workers to provide service to our people. Rebuilding government institutions. Second was focusing on our people, social development, because you could test why it was very important to build the infrastructure of government is that you could dream all you wanted to. You could make all sorts of promises as to what you want to do and how you want to solve society's problems. But who will do it? How would it be done? That's one area we never focus on as politicians or as citizens. We just talk and then expect that some miracle will happen, and what we expect will happen. But not realizing that you've got to ensure that the institutions are there and there are people who day and night work towards providing those promises we have made. Promises for who? Promises for our citizens, that life will be better for our citizens. And how do you do that? Key is education. And that's where the reset button in every society is. The child is born, the child needs to be educated, trained, given certain values, so that that child can be useful to him or herself and society at large. That's why education is important, very key and important. You won't be what you're doing today if you didn't have those strong foundational learning. So we had to fix education, ditto healthcare, and for us, how did we achieve, what was the focus? It's not about universities. It's not about certificates. It's about the teacher, ensuring that the teacher is in school. Because if the teacher is not in class, that child will not. There will be nobody to teach the child. Ensuring that you motivate that teacher, and you let the teacher know. Work with the teacher on what to do in training that child. It might seem very simple and basic, but it wasn't there, and it's not there in most cases. What have we seen in 5-6 years? Schooling is now fun, and particularly public education. And we have almost 400,000 children that we are affecting today. Kids who, after the first term in primary school, are now able to read and do their sums. Healthcare, ditto. It's not about big hospitals. It's not about centralizing healthcare. You don't need a central healthcare system. You need a decentralized healthcare system so that you can work, drive less than 5 minutes to a health facility around you. Because if you have an emergency and you're sick, you don't want to be driving down, 20 miles to one central care place where, you now wait for hours to get care. You should just be able to walk to your neighborhood clinic, your primary health care center, and make sure that there's somebody there to attend to you, to take your vitals, understand the challenges with you. And usually all major diseases start small with some symptoms.
Your Excellency, sir, you have done a lot in that direction.
Yes.
Let's go to the specifics.
Okay.
What have you done recently to ensure that it's an accomplishment?
I don't get it. In terms of education or in terms of healthcare?
We're talking about health now.
Oh, healthcare.
Yes.
As I speak today, in fact, we have almost 50 primary healthcare centers that have been refurbished. But it's not just about the centers. What we have done that's revolutionary is what you call healthcare financing. Why do people not go to clinics or hospitals? Because they're afraid of payments. They can't pay for card and all that. We have eliminated that.
Yes.
And come up with our Edo State Health Insurance Program, which is now compulsory, which means that once you are registered and you have a crisis and ailment, you can walk into any of those care registered centers, and they could be public or private, to get care. Okay. That, I think, is the revolution here.
Has that improved life expectancy in Edo State? If we were to talk in terms of numbers,
if you look at the data,
what's life expectancy in Edo State?
All the statistics that have been issued by the central authority, by the federal government, shows that Edo has today ranks amongst the top five states in terms of healthcare provisions, in terms of life expectancy, and all the key indicators in the healthcare space.
Okay, Your Excellency, I'd like to find out from you, I mean, from the background that you've laid concerning all of the lofty developments that you've wrought in Edo State, I'd like to find out from you, in terms of the civil service, you have done so much, but just recently, I remember that a couple of weeks ago you had announced that you were going to do the 13-month salary, and it was greeted with so much excitement. But eventually when that was done, we observed that some people complained that they were not paid the 13-month salary, but they were paid basic. So what exactly happened there? Was there a disparity of some sort, or it was intentional?
First, you have to understand, Edo pays the highest in terms of minimum wage.
Yeah.
The 13th month salary...
40,000 naira now.
Yes. The 13th month salary is also to help, improve earnings of civil servants or public servants in these difficult times. And in terms of the payment of the 13th month salary, of course, it was based on their basic salary, It was based on the basic, and it was generic for everybody. Okay. And this is, so by the time you add your 40,000 with your 13th month salary, clearly the Edo State civil servant earns more than any other civil servant in the country today. And I think it's something that, should be applauded. Yes. Applauded and not...
But she talked about, just a moment, she talked about the fact that some people were excluded?
No, nobody was
from
excluded.
the package.
Nobody was excluded.
Okay, so everybody was captured.
It's the same payroll we used.
Okay. All right, let's quickly talk about the economy.
Yes.
Edo State economy. 7 years ago, what was Edo State GDP? 7 years down the line today, where are we in terms of the policies, the programs that you initiated to drive development, drive infrastructure? Against the background of where you're coming from, you're interested in how to change the narratives and have a paradigm shift. So where are we?
I'll talk about ranking, because this is all relative. About 7 years ago, Edo ranked somewhere about 13th, 14th in the country. We were somewhere in the middle, in terms of GDP ranking. That's the size of the economy. Today, we're a clear 5th, between 5 and 6.
That means you're not sure?
No. It's, depending on the indices you use. Sometimes, then we're like 14, 15. But today we're like 5. Sometimes, using some criteria we're 5, and using other criteria we're maybe 6. But we are top 10 in the country. We're the top you know, the top quarter percentile of, in terms of size of economy and growth. But what is important, it's not just the size today, because there are some economies that are just naturally big in terms of GDP. It's the growth that has occurred since we took over. That is to say, it's from say about 14th, we become like 6th. And we did that because we're undertaking activities, encouraging investments that has added to the economy of the state.
Can you put a figure on Edo State GDP as we speak? Is it $10 million? Is it $10 trillion? Is it $14 trillion? I mean, since...
Are you using dollars or using naira?
Okay, let's use that. I mean, that's a common denominator.
What exchange rate?
Yes.
I think what is important
yes.
is relative to the size of the country, where are we? And how have we grown? I think that's what's important,
okay.
Right? Because Nigeria's economy was, was $500 and something billion, and if you put it in naira terms, by the time, it was something, by the time you devalue the naira, it becomes something. So this is our floating numbers. Okay. What I think is important is the size relative to the country.
Okay.
And what you are doing to improve and increase the amount of economic activities within the state.
Oh. So, what are you doing to increase the GDP?
What are we doing?
Economic development.
First, accept that the GDP has grown massively. What are we doing? It's people that drive economy. And it's also what government does that drive the economy. We have moved from a situation where government was used to doing things themselves, owning things themselves, to one where government is encouraging, creating an enabling environment for people to come and do things, come and invest. You now know that if I come to Edo, my business is likely to do well because there's a market, there's security, I feel safe. I feel, unlike in the past, when I want to buy land, I have 10 people, I'm buying from 10 different people, I don't know who, so I just want to stay away because I don't want that trouble. Now I come to Edo, I want to invest, I can, get the land, go and search to see if that land is free, pay for it. Within 60 days, I get my CFO. I go to any government office to ask for information. It's, I get a response. It's not, it's not one of those situations in the past. You just remove that because we're fixing the institutions. We're now beginning to get highly trained quality people, in here who, unlike in the past, they couldn't, because they didn't see any opportunities, they wanted to leave. In the area of just getting around the social life, the cultural life, you can go out, work hours are now extended because you have street lights, nightclubs, cafes, entertainment areas, things about culture. I mean, it's been, Edo State is beginning to look like every other normal developing
Okay, Your Excellency, I'd like you to share some light on the revamped Nigerian Observer newspaper. Again, just recently when it was announced that, there's a new one and it was on the stand. But afterwards, it appears that we do not see it anymore. The question I would like to ask you is, don't you think that it is a better time now to ask that for the fact that the online edition of the Nigerian Observer is now there? One would have thought that, well, we would just allow the Nigerian Observer to bottle up and have government documents being printed instead of going to Lagos. What are your thoughts on this?
I think part of the general revamp, it was when we came into office in 2016, it was really sad to see all that General Ubemudi and his regime did these years that put Edo there as one of the top states in Nigeria. In terms of the media, thanks, we have people like you who are living that tradition. We dominated the media. We always did. And we still do as Edo Delta people today. And why did that happen and how did it happen? Because of the investments that was made in media houses like the Observer, you had a printing service, you had a publishing service, you had, the radio, you had television. But by the time we came, you could, they just were almost extinct. I mean, they were barely there except on paper. So what we've done with the Observer is to revamp it. So there are now two businesses. You have the printing business with 3 presses, and you have the publishing business that publishes the Nigerian Observer. And it's like every other media business. They're looking at the trends. It's easier to just go on online, and
okay.
And that's what they're emphasizing. And as far as we're concerned, we're giving it its freedom to do what it needs to do. It's not, even though we are the proprietors, but we don't control its editorial content.
Has it been privatized, Your Excellency?
Not privatized.
Or partial privatization, you would ask?
Well, government still owns all the shares.
Okay.
But we are partnering with private people, private sector, in terms of some aspects of running them.
Okay.
So I want to take you up on this rebranded public service.
Yes.
It's quite a delight when you go to the John Odigye Oyegun Public Service Academy. It has state-of-the-art facilities. It's world class, simply put. Why did you decide to do that? And how are we going to sustain it? Because maintenance culture has always been an issue with us in preserving our institutions and facilities. What are the modalities that you have put in place to ensure that it's an enduring legacy?
Okay. Thank you. Before I answer that question,
Yes,
what you are seeing in that building, the John Odigye Center, is an outcome of a process. So what we've done as government is to rethink the way government works. First, in terms of its facilities, the government buildings should set the standards. That's why they are more expensive to build. And so and then they've got to be built to be efficient, so that the workflow processes are, pretty seamless. There's a lot of thinking that goes into how things are set up, particularly what you see in terms of the physical structure. But what's even more important is what you don't see in terms of the processes, procedures, and culture. When we came into office, the civil service was broken. And it's still broken in most parts of Nigeria, because most governments just don't emphasize, they don't give enough emphasis. The public service is taken for granted. You just expect that, people will just come and work and go every day. You don't motivate them. You don't, the environment in which they work is so decrepit, very demotivating. So for us, we felt that was the first thing to do. Just restore that sense of dignity, that sense of pride in the public servant, because these are people who we expect to serve us. They are public servants. And don't treat them like servants. And even if you're going to treat them like servants, please treat them with dignity.
Okay. Your Excellency, so much has been done or achieved under your leadership with the infrastructures that we see across the state. There are a lot of innovation. I mean, the Oshamo power plant is something very novel, which I believe several other states are copying. A whole lot has been done. What would be your reaction to the insinuations in some quarters that in terms of the revenue inflows, whether it's the federal allocation or internally generated revenue, we can't really say is commensurate with the success story of the state, because there's also this insinuation that Edo State has never been this indebted compared to what it was in the past. Could you give us figures in that direction?
Sometimes when you hear the level of ignorance in some reactions, it's so pitiable. I think first thing, in terms of just analyzing your statement, in terms of earnings at the federal receipts, where does Edo rank? See all the achievements you have enumerated relative to what we earn. you should be asking, how are you even making this money? How are you able to do this? It's like magic.
So tell us.
I can't tell you my secret. I'll tell the next governor.
That's it. And some people say the next
Just hold on. He's not done yet. Yes, just hold on. Let him establish his point.
Edo
Yeah.
is not the most indebted state. What has happened is that we are ourselves, Lagos, and who else? Maybe a few other states have a lot of foreign debts, and these foreign debts are World Bank loans. And World Bank just doesn't give money to everybody. You have to meet a certain criteria, because the kind of money they give to you is like a 20-year loan with at less than 1%. Right? That's the only challenge we have had is because the federal economy has been so badly managed. You can imagine the loan when he gave us $100 million 10 years ago. That $100 million, if you look at it in terms of Naira exchange rate today, it's more than doubled.
Yeah.
Not because of the loan in itself, not because, it's because of the exchange rates. That is the issue with, indebtedness.
Okay, I'd like to come to His Excellency to ask.
All right, just a moment. We'll go on a quick break. You're still on to the special interactive session, Media Parley, with Edo State Governor, His Excellency Godwin Nogagase Obaseki. We'll be back, and I can tell you for sure we're going to have more barrage of questions for His Excellency, but I'm sure he's equal to the task. Please stay with us. We'll be back with you in a moment.
An actor. Yes, Edo State has a good story to tell. Very good story to tell. With what Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki has done for the creative, we have never had it so good. Look at what is happening at the Victor Wafo Creative Hub. Edo Jobs. Some months ago, the governor signed MOUs with prime producers in the country, like Rock TV, African Magic, that their producers should come to this part, Edo State, to start to shoot their movies. And I can tell you, as we speak, over 50 films have been shot here under that memorandum of understanding. And I can tell you personally, I've taken part in over 23 of these films. Edo State Creative have never had it so good. And I can tell you that Edo State government supports filmmaking so much that today, if you're a producer and you have come to this part of the state to shoot your movies, our state government will subsidize your hotel rate for you. They will give you transport, like a bus and a Sienna, to support your production. If you need what we call special props for productions, like a court, airport, police stations, the Victor Wafo Creative Hub will do a letter on behalf to this establishment, and they make sure you get those places to use for your film. And this is what makes your film a reality. Instead of creating or building a set that will look like an airport or that will look like a police station, the state government has put agencies on ground that can assist you to get all of this. So tell me, as a creative, have you ever had it so good? So I can boastfully tell you that this is Eldorado for creatives in Edo State.
Glad to have you join us again on this special interactive session with the State Governor, His Excellency Godwin Nogagase Obaseki. A while ago, before that break, we're looking at the issue of the debt profile of Edo State vis-a-vis the earnings and the impacts made. I'm sure Your Excellency just want to make a point, say something in that regard as we move on.
I think the issues with debt, first, the structure of our debt is something that hasn't put any burden on our state finances. Because of the structure, like I said, the terms of the debt, the interest repayments, we are able to meet our debt obligations, without any stress. And in terms of the utilization, don't forget that we inherited quite some of that debt that's been used in terms of infrastructure, like that is there to see the rain, the storm water drainage system, for instance, that's drained all of Silico was part of the money that was raised from the World Bank before my term. But the funding we have received this time around has been largely for education, to strengthen our educational systems, we will do best. And the support that just like most states got as a result of COVID, to strengthen the social fabric of most of our states. Okay. So those were basically the loans that we took.
Okay, Your Excellency, sir, may I ask, how feasible is the completion of the ShopRite? Is it going to be abandoned, or is it going to see the light of day before you leave?
It's complete. What is going on now is just the fit outs. Okay. It's fully let. I mean, it's one of, for me, it was an amazing success story. That there's not one shop that's free there.
Mr. Governor, yeah. Before she came in with that question, I was going to have a follow-up question for you on the issue of flooding.
Yes.
We still have massive flooding at the Uselu axis, close to Tomline. It's a perennial problem. We also have now, within the GRA, what are we going to do? How soon are we going to see a difference, a change in the narrative?
We're doing a lot that people cannot see. First, there is a plan, a master plan, that was developed to deflood the state about 10 years ago. Well, it's been on. I mean, even General Bobadia had a plan with some internal drainage. We had another 10 years ago, and we are revamping that plan as we speak. The challenge with flooding has likely due to, first, climate change. Mm-hmm. The amount of rainfall we're experiencing and the length is much higher than ever was. The second issue is people not heeding to planning controls, to the controls in place for planning the physical environment. Most people build without building plans. They build along drainage paths, and they obstruct the flow of water. The last issue has been that of, here again, it has to do with developments, just random developments. Take the GRA, for instance. When the GRA was planned 70, 80 years ago, there was a lot of green spaces where water could drain to. So the colonial masters didn't see a need to put drains on our roads, because once rain fell, there were no block fences. Water just went into green areas and got absorbed into that. But today, everywhere is built up, most of the time without adequate planning. So we now, we're now having to, get experts to look at those areas, look at the inversions, and see how we can now drain. For instance, I'll just give you an example. If you take the golf course road, right, where the Benin Club is, right, and you take the moat, right, by the prisons.
Okay.
The difference in height between the lowest point, which is about the Benin Club, Benin Club, and the moat is about 2 meters. How do you drain?
That's an uphill task.
Precisely.
But there must be a way out. It's not rocket science.
So we're thinking of those ways out. But you see, there are choices you need to make.
Okay.
Take Agobasimi, where you have that perennial flooding area. So, there will always be solutions. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the cost, should I spend 10 billion naira in providing a drainage solution in that area? Or do I use that 10 billion naira to go and plan a new area that will house more people?
Okay, Your Excellency, let's quickly take you through education, which is one of the major things your administration has given priority attention to. In fact, you said a while ago that most of the loans that have come in, they've been deployed into education. For a while, we heard so much about EduBest 1.0, 2.0, but in recent time, it looks like that has been at the background. Then secondly, several of the higher institutions in Edo State, there's one crisis or the other. College of Agriculture, Igborahi, was booming, according to some people, until you came in, and the story is different because many students who went to that school couldn't graduate, they couldn't complete their education, lecturers displaced, staff displaced, and then we go to College of Education at Kiadolo as we speak. Many of the workers are still complaining to tomorrow. And then the first state-owned university in Nigeria, AAU, is in one crisis or the other. And many of the people there are saying it's when you came on board, all of this crisis came up. What's your take on this?
There are too many questions, so which do you want me to take first? Edo best? For us, education is it. As a minority, we are who we are, what we are, because of the number, and the quality of education that we receive. I mean, we have as Edo. And that's what has placed us in so many places of importance, locally and globally. So, we haven't forgotten or abandoned Edo Best. We've finished that stage. We've revamped our basic education system. So we go to the next level, the next problem. The next problem is middle level education, right? So Edo Best 1.0 was focused on primary 1 to 6. Now we're in our 5th year, so the teachers know what to do. They know how to monitor the outcomes. The children are doing well, and we're happy. What's the next level? They're going to go into junior schools, right? JSS 1 to 3. When we then found that actually basic education, what the Constitution says about basic education, is that it's actually from primary 1 to JSS 3, which means that once the child comes into your custody as government at the age of 6, you don't release that child until that child is about 15. But that was not the case. So what you had was, you still had secondary schools that was made up of junior and senior. The junior schools are under the governance of SUBEB. The senior schools are supposed to be under the governance of the state. So you can see the confusion and the mix. And we've now realized, you don't see that the drop-off ratio between when a child finishes primary 6 and SS1 is 50%. So if you have a class of 100 children who did primary 1 to 6, by the time you are looking for them in SS1, half of them are gone. That's what you see on the streets. As drivers, Alaye boys, those guys who hang out in the back. So the policy that was enunciated, the revamped education policy, was never followed through. And Edo Best has brought it out for us. So our next phase is to now make sure that we now disarticulate these junior schools from the senior schools, so that you have a proper basic education system. So by the time that child is 15, if the child doesn't even have an opportunity to further education, his or her education in life, you have all the skills, you have the basic education, you have the life skills to go on ahead with your life.
Okay.
All right, you're actually...
He hasn't talked. Yeah, it's not true yet. Yeah.
Then, so you talk about higher education. And when I hear people talk about schools that were functioning, it's a disaster. I mean, I just wonder, when did we get so low? When, this was not the Edo I was born in. You talked about College of Agriculture. You wouldn't even send your house help, your servant, your house help. You wouldn't send them to that kind of school. The pictures are all there. And I'm ashamed that people talk about having even be associated with such decrepit schools. It just, it's not, you don't play politics with education. I mean, let's even look at the statistics. By the time I came in, how many of these people could even get jobs? What's the quality of the education, the degrees today being given by AAU compared to what it was 10, 20 years ago? Why are the teachers in that school not sending their children to that school and send them to other schools abroad or private schools? Why? If the schools were that great, then what are we talking about? Yeah.
Funding is a key challenge.
It cannot be funding.
It's a key challenge. Since you came on board,
it's not funding.
Your subvention to the school has
reduced
drastically according to the...
It's not funding.
So what is it? Why is there constant crisis?
Because there's a crisis because cabals, people have taken over these schools. And nobody's been questioning, and they're not accountable to who?
How? When you say they have taken over the school?
When you're in charge of a school, yes. Your purpose is to graduate, provide quality education to people. right? You have more than 3,000, or I mean, 30,000 people you said are registered in that school. You collect fees from them. What do you use them for? What do you use the schools for? The fees for? How come private schools are doing well and you are not doing as well? So I mean, what I'm saying is, we've gotten, university education has gotten to a crisis point in Nigeria today. We set up another state university.
In the last couple of weeks,
Right?
we've seen videos that are not reflective of the enormous work that have been done in Edo since 2017. Our administration met a large inventory of dilapidated schools, outdated teaching methods, poor work culture, high teacher absenteeism, and minimal parental involvement in schools. This is why the Edo basic education sector.
Interestingly, I have a practical example to say. Somewhere around in the GRA, some people reported that they were asked to pay as high as 9 million naira to install their transformer and do the connection. One would wonder, I mean, would these people not stay put at the BECD instead of going BEDC,
Okay.
as opposed to settling for Oshomo with the intent that it should have been better, it should have been cheaper, and it should have been more accessible to
Why
people.
is Oshomo more expensive?
I'd like to find out from you, why is it this expensive if it was intended to make the people's lives a lot easier?
Well, I think for us in Edo, we've just found ourselves in a very advantaged position, that we're the cheapest source of generating electricity. That's why we're able to do the Azura deal, because we have gas, we have a lot of onshore gas, and there's a transmission network that has a core in Edo. In the case, that experience led us to attracting other investors like Osiomo to come into the space. The challenge with electricity is about competition. You can either generate through, get electricity from the public utility like BEDC, or a private IPP like Osiomo, or your own generator. And each of these, electricity generated from each of these sources has a different cost. So it's up to you to now decide. But what we have done in Edo is to make it available.
So what you're saying,
it's available. You are saying one is too expensive.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it really
And
true?
Yes, because the gas price to generate for Osiomo is $6, and they charge in dollars. The federal government charges in dollars. They're negotiating to try and see if they can get cheaper gas. I mean, and that is the contradiction of Nigeria. Here we are in Edo with a lot of gas, most of it being flared. Yet, and ironically, we can't get it to buy. That's it.
All right, Your Excellency.
Let's talk about
quite interesting.
Security,
please. We'll get there in a moment. When you came on board, there were certain pseudonyms that were given to you. Number one was Wait and See. And then another one came somewhere along the line, which has to do with MOU governor. The MOUs, where are we with them? Or are they just hanging in the air as MOUs, or we have things we can point to, touchable, feelable things that have been done? For example, the Gele seaport is there. Even the road leading to that area is still, there's a huge question mark on it. And several of these things,
Okay. First, what is MOU? What does that mean? It
Memorandum of Understanding.
Memorandum of Understanding.
Just go on.
And if you want to diversify your economy, you are moving your state from a public service-driven economy to a private sector one. The first thing you do when you're talking to a private sector, a person or an investor, is to have an understanding with that person. So you sign a memorandum which spells out what you want to achieve. When I campaigned
Today, I stand before you to shed light on an issue.
The state into a private sector one. So we signed MOU for Osiomo, at least you have power. We signed MOU for the refinery, you have the refinery. We signed MOU for the oil palm investors, Edo State oil palm you have those investors in. We signed MOU for the mall, you have it in. We signed them. So, is MOU working?
So you're truly an MOU governor.
Okay, let's talk about the issue of the vacancy, because I remember when you were asking to come back for the second time, I was one of those who asked you, or who commended you rather, about the vacancy infrastructure program or agenda. But down the line, we have seen that you have lost steam. The zest is no longer there. The gusto and fervor you came up with in fixing the roads, no, that's what the people are saying. Society watchers are saying that, and we are seeing it. It's like we are hedged in. Socially, we're impaired. Economically, we're impaired. Traveling out to do business, it's become a problem because of the bad roads. So,
well, in terms of the issue of execution, building roads, no government has built as many roads, or in terms of length of roads, as we have in the life of this administration in the last 7 years. You see, the Wait and See acronym came about because we were fixing and working on our own internal roads. So you wake up in the morning and you see the road leading to your house being done. And we're still doing that, and we're doing a lot more of that. What we have not been able to do is to fix the major trunk roads because of the unique location of Edo.
Okay.
Today, all the major trunks, federal trunks, come through here. So Uselu Road to the Ring Road is a federal road. Akpakpava, a federal road. Sapele Road, a federal road. A federal road. So we are hemmed around. And we can't do anything about these roads because first, they've all been contracted out to contractors. Okay. We are not, even if we went there to do it ourselves, possibly do it, we cannot be repaid. Our hands are tied because of, so what should have been an advantage?
But the federal government has been repaying states who embarked on fixing the federal roads.
No. Go to check on, if you recall an incident in Port Harcourt, even when the new president came in, he told the governor straight away, no, federal government is not going to.
Is the federal government owing you on any road project?
The federal government is not owing me on.
River State was paid huge sums of money.
No, check. It was the same. Listen, he said the federal government does not refund states, or stopped refunding states on doing anything about
it. Okay, Your Excellency, we're due for another break. Many thanks again for joining this broadcast of the special interactive session with His Excellency Godwin Obaseki, the State Governor. We will take a break now. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Activities has led to the creation of employment opportunities for our citizens and a rise in our state's overall revenue. Furthermore, it is crucial to acknowledge that the federal roads within our states have suffered from negligence and insufficient maintenance. Today, I stand before you to shed light on an issue that significantly impacts the progress and development of our beloved state, Edo. The road infrastructure across our state has been a subject of concern and discussion for far too long. But today, I'm proud to announce that our government has taken significant steps to address this crucial issue, and we have witnessed remarkable progress in improving our road network. Over the past few years, the government of Edo State recognized the importance of well-developed road infrastructure system. We understood that good roads are the foundation upon which economic and social progress is built. As a result, we have invested our efforts and resources in constructing a remarkable 730 kilometers of inner city and interstate roads across Edo State. The impact of this intervention cannot be overstated. By constructing these roads, we have not only connected various communities, but we have also provided a platform to facilitate seamless movement, thus allowing businesses to thrive. When commerce flourishes, economic growth, prosperity follow. The improved roads infrastructure has affected both local and foreign investors who now view Edo State as a viable destination to establish and expand their businesses. This influx of investment and economic activities has led to the creation of employment opportunities for our citizens and a rise in our state's overall revenue. Furthermore, it is crucial to acknowledge that the federal roads within our states have suffered from negligence and insufficient maintenance. Despite the fact that this responsibility for these roads lie with the federal government, we understand that their condition directly affects our state and its residents. Thus, we cannot simply turn a blind eye to the struggles faced by our people. Therefore, as a responsible and responsive government, we have taken it upon ourselves to undertake remedial repairs of federal roads, even though legally it's not within our purview. We are not shying away from our responsibility, and we refuse to let the deteriorating state of federal roads hinder our progress. Our commitment to the welfare of our people is unwavering. We understand the impact a robust road network has on the daily lives of our citizens, and we are committed to ensuring that every resident of Edo State enjoys the benefit of improved road infrastructure. Our intervention in the road infrastructure of Edo State has been nothing short of transformational. Our commitment to constructing 730 kilometers of road demonstrates our dedication to progress and development. By investing in our road network, we have boosted commerce, stimulated economic growth, and reaped the rewards of a thriving society. We may not be where we want to be, however, we are certainly not where we used to be. On road infrastructure and network, we have a good story to tell. In the last couple of weeks, we have seen videos that are not reflective of the enormous work that have been done in Edo since 2017. Our administration met a large inventory of dilapidated schools, outdated teaching methods, poor work culture, high teacher absenteeism, and minimal parental involvement in schools. This is why the Edo Basic Education Sector Transformation, Edo Best, was launched in April 2018 after a thorough assessment of the state of affairs, including a pupils diagnostic to determine the proficiency of our learners. We have consistently and simultaneously tackled issues of infrastructure, school amenities, learning, parental engagement, and introduced technology. Edo State has over 1,000 primary schools, and we have done either renovation or construction in 400, and as needed, we have also done additional renovations in more than 200 schools. To tackle the unacceptable menace of learners sitting on the floor, in 2019, we launched the No Child on the Floor policy. Until date, at least 85% of the furniture deficit has been cleared. In the same 2019, we began a process of relocating learners in schools that are inhabitable. However, many communities kicked against this. But since 2021, when the governor gave marching orders for dilapidated structures to be demolished across the state, efforts were redoubled on demolishing and remodeling of such schools. To address the lack of amenities in schools, we introduced playgrounds, sporting facilities, and replaced.
With us in this special interactive session with Edo State Governor Godwin. Nogase Obaseki. We'll move on to this segment before our next break. We'll be having continuation of this conversation, and then we'll have the pidgin segment of this discussion. But let me get you started off on this segment. Let's have Madam Meze Gebo, take us through.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
I'd like to ask the governor. So I actually came here with a heavy heart, and a lot of families are going through a lot because of alleged court-related deaths. On the 24th, the Christmas Eve, 13 persons were gunned down. And, what is going on, the speculations are that they are court-related deaths. What are we doing about the security architecture of Edo State? Why are we having this problem? Before now, courts were, lobbying associations, pressure groups to fix issues with development and injustice. But it has come to a killer squad, so to speak.
On rampage.
Yes, how are we going to change this narrative? It's ugly, it's dismal.
Well, it's really, really sad. I mean, and sad and disturbing. Because like you said, in terms of security in Edo, that's now the major security issue we have. It's no longer kidnapping. It's no longer armed robbery. It's now crimes related to cult activities that's focused on a certain segment of our society, the very young, who are our future. And it's, as a government, it's something we're very worried about, and we've been tracking. So, what you saw in the last few weeks were not totally unexpected. We had intelligence, and we'd been sharing the intelligence with the security agencies. Unfortunately, there are some very senior people in government, in politics, that cannot dissociate themselves from what has happened.
Accomplice.
And we are investigating.
Okay.
And we'll get at them soon.
All right.
And it's, ahead of elections, ahead of politics, people are trying to strengthen groups as if, that's what will be required to win elections.
So is this politically motivated?
It's ahead of the politics.
Isn't this a failure of the Edo State Security Network?
No, because you see, the Edo State Security Network, if you look at, we produce results, on a monthly basis. So we are tracking activities. So there's intelligence. The network system is picking up intelligence. It's the response. When people say they are gathering together for meetings, for instance, you just can't go out and disperse them. So there is, so there's also a re-socialization part of it, where we now need to get parents, we need to get a larger society involved in reorientating these young people. That they shouldn't just gather together and, on the instigation of some people, begin to kill themselves.
So in the insinuation that kidnapping, armed robberies, they are not on the low, but these court activities are taking over. Yes,
precisely.
I pray we get solutions to this.
We're working very, very hard.
Okay.
We're working extremely hard. I was with the IG 2 days ago, and it's one of the things I discussed with him.
Okay.
We're working very, very hard. And also the drug aspect to it, because this is it's also related to drug availability and drug use.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'd like to come to His Excellency. May I ask you, it appears that the leaves of the Dolites, they're asking the question, and I'm glad that you're here, so I could ask from the horse's mouth. Do you have an anointed candidate?
Why should I?
And if you do, Your Excellency, tell us what he's going to be doing differently from what you have done. Or perhaps you want him to leverage on what you have done, just in case you have one.
Well, in every interview, even in this interview, one question that you asked, and I'm glad you did, was sustainability. What happens when you leave? All these programs you started, can they be continued? Yes. I guess that's what's on the hearts of most Edolites. And that's also of concern to me. So, whoever is going to succeed me has to be somebody who has that understanding and who is also willing to make that sacrifice for it, because it's a lot of sacrifice.
So you have one already, that's what it means?
No, whoever, because in the spectrum, most of the people who are in the race are known to me, very well known to me.
Okay.
So whoever emerges from the process has to be somebody that can continue with what we've done.
So it's not about zoning, it's about the best man coming up.
There is a process in place.
Okay.
There are political parties who will test what's going on in the state and see what advantage, how they will get an advantage.
Suffice it to say, you don't have an anointed candidate.
From what you're saying, he does have.
Okay, Your Excellency,
My anointed candidate is the person who can continue with what we're doing.
Okay,
so
sir.
Your Excellency, doesn't that make you a godfather? Against the background that you were against a certain godfather at some point in your political life.
I haven't decided. I haven't said this is the person that is going to be. I haven't presented anybody.
But your body language suggests
Exactly.
that.
How do you read
Your
body
body
language?
Political body language suggests
You look alike, even.
How do you read political language?
Let me ask this question before I leave off this conversation, and that has to do with your relationship with the Deputy Governor, Philip Schreiber. Have you mended fences adequately?
No, I think it's rather, it's not a...
It's stale?
No. First and foremost,
Yes, sir.
he ran as my deputy. And my term has not finished.
Okay.
So I expect my term to finish before we even begin to... Whatever he wants to do is his business. If it doesn't require my mending a relationship with him, I am working towards finishing strong and well. He's working towards, going to go. So
strong and going into politics.
So good governance in Edo State
for me,
is assured? It's
so
not
for
going
me,
to be...
it's like that. I just don't want any distraction. I want to just focus on what we need to do and ensure that we finish strong and finish everything we said we would. So that if he decides to spend more of his time, doing other things, that shouldn't distract me.
Okay.
All right.
You're not distracted.
Let's go look at two questions that you need to respond to before our next break. Walk us through the state of internally generated revenue in the last 7 years and the Benin City Mall. What is the state of the mall? I know you responded to that, but we'd like to know what is the level of investment by the state government?
Well, first, let's talk about internal revenues. When we got in 2016, 2017, we're inching towards a 2 billion naira monthly IGR. Today, we're inching towards 5 billion a month. In some cases, 2.5, but it's between 4 and 5. But what's important for us is to broaden the tax bracket so that the tax burden IGR is not just on a few people. Because everybody who is earning income, who is, should pay something.
That's true.
Yeah. And we see, that it's going to increase significantly as we introduce more technology and more efficient ways to collect taxes. Our goal is to ensure that the amount of tax we raise locally, IGR, exceeds what we get from Abuja. That's the way. That's one way to ensure our sustainability into the future. So even if we don't get revenues from Abuja, we can continue to run it.
And you're doing that successfully.
We're working towards that.
Okay. Thank you very much. We will take another break and we'll be back shortly to continue with this conversation with His Excellency on this special interactive session.
This is the point.
Stay with us. Stay with us. Of course, this is the point. Yeah, this is the point. Madam Ameze Gebo will be taking a leave. I would truly, truly treasure this moment. Okay, personally, I treasure this moment.
Your Excellency,
thank you very much.
having this discussion with you.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. We'll take a break now. We'll be back with you in a moment.
My name is Kingsley Uwagbale, and I'm the Honorable Commissioner for Public Safety and Security at Edo State. A few days ago, we launched our Command and Control Center after we had a summit to discuss the issue of security for Edo State. We know that Edo State is safe and secure, and this has to do with the amount of resources and investments the state has done under His Excellency Godwin Obaseki. As we speak, you can call 112, you can call 739 if you have any kind of emergency, and we will respond. As we speak, we have activated our security measures for the Christmas seasons. You will begin to see plainclothes policemen on the streets of Edo State. As we speak, I can also say that there has been a huge level of collaboration between the various agencies of government. One of the things we have achieved is that we have all agencies of government working together, and that has helped us. And more importantly, we believe security is local. So we are training well over 6,500 vigilantes already. We are going to train more. We are even beginning to train them now along the various senatorial zones, all right? So why are we doing that? We believe that when there are issues in your community, they should be able to respond first. The police will support them, and if we have to bring in the military, we'll bring in the military. If you see most of our roads now, some part you see military, some part you see the police, some part you even see NDLE. Security is local, and you all have a role to play in security. Sometimes the way we drive on our streets, on our roads, it's a bit unacceptable. We are reckless. We don't want to obey the rules. These are the things that encourages bad behavior. So we do expect all Edo people to drive properly. If you have any information, even about bad driving, please call 112-739. You see any wrong movement around your environment, something you're not familiar with, you see human beings that you're not sure who they are, please call 112-739. We have men and women who will respond to you immediately. Don't say it doesn't matter. I can say something here quickly. The first 1 hour after every kidnap is very important, because then they are moving the victims from where they're to their own location. If you call us at that time, we're able to activate even up to hunters, up to vigilantes, up to police to rescue the persons. All right? So please help us as we help you to ensure we have a safe and happy Utah season. I'd like to assure every Edo person that the investment we have made in security is huge, and not just huge, both in human equipment and in resources, and they have all been geared to ensure that Edo are not only safe, they can go about and enjoy the Utah. At the end of the day, we do have a good story to tell in Edo State. Thank you very much.
My name is Henry Yubosa Legema. I am a thespian, film producer, director, and actor. Yes, Edo State has a good story to tell, very good story to tell. With what Edo State Governor Obaseki has done for the creative, we have never had it so good. Look at what is happening at the Victor Wafo Creative Hub. Edo Jobs. Some months ago, the governor signed MOUs with prime producers in the country, like Rock TV, African Magic, that their producers should come to this part, Edo State.
With us on this special interactive session with Edo State Governor from wherever you're watching us, many thanks again for staying with us. Your Excellency, thank you so much for this opportunity to have this interface with you. I'd like to get started by asking you to respond to the key impact that has been made in the health sector, which is very, very key. Health is very synonymous with the quality of life and all of that. In terms of the numbers, in terms of primary health care center, in terms of life expectancy and all of that, like a wrap.
Thank you. I think for us, healthcare is an indicator of the level of development of any society or community. And so we take it very, very seriously. And what we have done is to look at healthcare from 4 aspects. First, healthcare is not the physical infrastructure. Healthcare is the quality of service you give to people. And so you have to focus on the people who provide the care and ensure that they provide quality care. So manpower training is very, very important. That's why we rebuilt the nursing school. That's why we are rebuilding the School of Medical Health Technology, because these are the people that will provide support, that will provide the services in these facilities. The second thing we have done is to focus on financing, because people have, healthcare is expensive. The reason why, the healthcare system broke down was because we left the whole burden of financing healthcare to government alone. So healthcare financing is important. Now that we have a health insurance where you can just put something aside, even if it's 50 naira a day, 100 naira a day, the day you are unfortunate to fall ill, you can walk into any center and get care. And then we're ensuring that those centers provide you quality care. It's not like you go in there, or you have an ailment, you can't pay for the surgery, or even if it's just medications, medicines, you go, they say it's out of stock. No, that's history, right? Okay. And then, then lastly, the physical infrastructure to make sure it's one place you want to go to, not like what I saw in the facility, the Central Hospital. Where I went there, they says the wellness center, and and looking at that center, you know that you will fall ill if you just go in there.
Well, you've taken...
Okay, yes, I'd like to do a follow-up to this health issue. For me, Edo Health Insurance is amazingly one of the best things that your administration has done, especially looking at the fact that it has attended to health issues that Edolites would not have ordinarily gone to the hospital for, but Edo Health Insurance has made all that easy. But I'm particularly worried about the Stella Obasanjo Hospital. 4 years ago, I gave birth to my baby there. But tell us exactly, what is the state of Stella Obasanjo Hospital? Is it just going to be known as a COVID center, or you have a better plan for it?
Just wait and see in May.
Oh, I see that. Interesting. Okay, we'll find out in the coming days.
Thank you very much. Of course, our viewers would have noticed that there's a new entrant into the panelist. Nosa Idelo Ugbede is the head of station TMC TV radio broadcast. Many thanks for joining us, and he will be leveraging on this conversation with the Pidgin language. Nosa, take it away with your first show.
Well, Sonny Duke, thank you very much for you carry me on this place. Make I turn out with Mr. Governor to give us some questions we'll be saying we'll respond to. A friendly governor. Okay. We will begin there. And before we begin the carry waka, the chukai for those questions, I said we can ask Mr. Governor, for the past 7 years, some of your policy or programs where you put for ground, you don't get any regret?
For the one when I do myself, I don't get regret. Because there's nothing when I do when I not think about it. Anything when we do for our government, so we know they talk plenty, we think more than we talk. So now education, we think well before we do all the thing when we do for Edo Best. We think about the Peking when they go school. Not be people when get money now we are concerned to us because they pay for private school. Now people when not get money, mama when they sell for markets, they for canaiza means because get that kind of money in Peking or get good education. We think about the roads. People they complain road. Now more politics. So when they beat person for offense when they not commit. The one when I do when they give me vacancy, I still we still they do them. The thing we say one government alone no fit do everything, right? So for the one when we say we go do, we don't do and reach our power. Now, say, make we put everything when we don't do together for ground. So the person when will come after me will say, okay, this now where it stop. He do this road for this area, I never do this one. So maybe go now focus, go say, okay, this time make him do the one when they never do. He starts this healthcare. Okay, maybe now only 250,000 people now don't register. Maybe we'll take her to 1 million, 2 million. But at least not to say, oh, we're not going to do this one again. So you don't get anything when I start. When bad like that, say, oh, it cause pain. After I leave, I regret. And say, okay, no, maybe we're not supposed to do what we do. I don't think, say, when I think, I don't see anyone when I
no regret at all.
No regret.
Okay, make we chook out for one direction. We say the Ogmo get this way you don't put for ground. We don't see different infrastructures where you don't put for ground for the past 7 years. Health matter, education matter, all job matter for everywhere. So make I ask you this question. People in the care for Isi, people with the Eho, Obadan, Idibo, Udeni, Ebui, all these people with the farm, we know the two city. How they fit take no say or or they benefit from this ogbogetis we don't put for granted. How you feel say they don't?
Okay, two things. One, they say, one thing when the most important for this world today, internet and connectivity. Because as a day now, person will not get phone, at least in our day. We count people will not get phone. We don't make sure, say, one infrastructure, when Edo with a bill for Edo, when many states never even start, now this fiber. So that every village, every local government will get fiber when go. When we say, you feel take your phone, you don't need to buy data. You get Wi-Fi, you go, they see what thing will they do and what thing they happen. So you be farmer now. You did farm cassava. You don't reach harvest time. You want to say, okay, how much I feel sell this my cassava at the return? You just go, say, okay, who they buy cassava for Edo today? Oh, you get one ethanol plant for Lobo. How much be transport? You go check. Okay, make a book. So maybe I feel sell my food stuff from my house. I don't need to work out, carry them, come market. You know, you get some people safe. I think with my wife that you get customer. One woman when they sell dry fish for them. When he gets good fine stock and Otien, this cherry, go call. Mama, I get fine cherry. You know to cost. This one nice. You go say, okay, show him from send me the picture, make I see. You go show him, send the picture. You go say, okay, how much? We tell him, I order. So with technology, when we put in place, we go now we just do penetration, make it enter the villages, they enter every part of Edo, so that we can connect people, connect them to market, connect them to their people abroad. That's now how our economy will grow.
We can answer that question again. They could put like for Gile side and Gile Olugbo. Because I hear today say you want to visit that area, and I believe say you not go play for there. You go see something, and you will tell us what you see for there.
Three things. One, about a month and a half ago, they can't tell me. Very sad. See, some people, they will go markets or something. As in they go, then boats, when they come capsize. Some children can't die inside because they don't feel swim to shore. So now they make me think, say, these people, they be citizens, no. Okay, then they put buses. Bus day, took a day, with the Central Park, with the
enjoy for you.
They do. But these people, when now water they take move, how will they cater for them? So I don't think, I don't order some, they talk to some people when they make big boats to say, how if we do passenger boat for them? So at least, boat could come out for Olubo, stop for Ajoki, from Ajoki, go to Chabiama, go from, Waka, that's, so at least they feed the Waka and in a safe way. Today now when I go, like Kanwa market, can't see us the plenty. If they look, if one big boat come now, all those small canoe we just outside. But so that's not the first reason why I go to say, okay, if we want to introduce transport, where be the hubs? Make us see how the water be. The second we say, I can't get some investors when we don't talk about this area where they fit opportunity. They say go gas there. I say I know say that they do many this thing for exploration for that site. I know at least two companies, one near Jockey and one for Gile. So okay, make we enter, but make I go see myself. What did they do? Some they fled the gas. I say maybe opportunity. They make we even go see how we can work with them. Make we get the gas stick they use for manufacture and electricity. The other reason, now I go Nicaragua. Because say in Nicaragua, Bengi problem early in the year. Now so say and there Okobo Day, many criminals enter that place. And so they caught 3. Someone do 3 for that because I don't did there for thousands of years. They go cut the 3, put them for water, float them to market. Then when they sell, you can imagine all the investment that they saw. We just enter the forest, cut the tree, the forest, carry the log, go. Sell the log, buy arms, come use them, terrorize the people for the place. So when I go there 8 months ago, I look at it, I say, okay, I promise them, say, I go do something about them. So with soldier, with police, with the National Guard, we pursue all of them. We pursue them. Thank God many of them don't run. If you still there one day, when would they look for? You get one member of Federal House when they protect them, but we go catch them. Huh? So I go there today just to go see the people, make sure, say, you know, what I promised them, I don't fulfill. And to also look for the area where we feel put jetty. Because if we do this transport service, we get to build jetty for these places and also build police posts so that we can secure them.
Okay. Let's just walk you through some questions that are coming in. Your effort to transform Edo State from being a civil servant state to an industrial state, I believe, is yielding results. Well, let us into the expected impact of the ethanol plant, the modular refinery, and the ESO program in Edo State.
Okay. I think particularly the ethanol plant and the ESO program, what it signifies is that we're starting the process of industrialization using agricultural raw materials. So today, with the ethanol plants based on the use of cassava, you can farm as much cassava in the state because you have a market. The ethanol plant produces ethanol, alcohol for industrial uses and also for breweries, for drinks manufacturers. So you can see the relationship between agriculture and industrialization. Ditto the oil palm program. Edo is the home of oil palm. That's what we're known for. You know, the Malaysians were here to work with researchers in NIFO 60 years ago. So, but if you see what Malaysia, Indonesia, and all those Costa Rica and those countries have done with oil palm, in fact, oil palm was the main catalyst for the Malaysian revolution, industrial revolution. So with what we have done now, just streamlining the process and getting people to come and invest, because the phase one alone will bring in more than $500 million of investments. So when they produce palm, what happens, right? They are not going to export because the demand is so much. In fact, we import crude palm oil into Nigeria today as we speak, a lot. And that's what you need for pharmaceuticals. By the time you refine and process it, for pharmaceuticals, for cosmetics, for, palm oil is the most prolific edible fat.
Okay. Just before we take more questions, I'd like to react to two issues. Number one, for the past 6 months, there's a talk around the judiciary that there are some high court judges that have been sworn, despite the recommendation by the NJC. What are you doing with the Edo State Diaspora Commission? Edo State has a huge diaspora inflow in terms of revenue. Quickly, sir.
Okay, you have two questions.
Yes.
The judiciary and the diaspora.
Yes.
I think with the judiciary, I cannot see something wrong and not point it out. The Lords, the NJC, confirmed some appointments, and by the time we saw by the time we received the appointments, there were lots of petitions that came on some, regarding some of the appointees. For instance, issues about somebody who was on probation, for instance. Precisely. And I'm saying, look, there's thanks to the move to clean up the judiciary, to make everything, and you see, they give it to the judiciary. In all what's going on, the judiciary has always stood out. And I think it's important. It's not in my time that I will sit and see something that is wrong and regret.
Is any time for them to be sworn in?
No, I couldn't. So
investigation is still ongoing.
So I've had to refer back to the Nigerian Judicial Commission to review some of these, petitions we've seen, and even their wisdom, they think it's still not strong enough to correct the situation. Well, go ahead.
Okay, the Diaspora Commission.
Diaspora Commission, we're working very hard on it, and most of the things we're doing today is essentially targeted towards, getting our diaspora to invest. And I want to thank a lot of them because they're doing fantastically well. Just this Christmas alone, the city is full. Flights are full. Hotels are full. Filled by who?
Tourism.
By the diaspora population. So we are working with, and to say, look, how do you set up a diaspora commission? It has to be driven by technology. And we're working with, we're working on the base technology and also on the data. Because what do people in the diaspora want to see? They want news about home. They want opportunities about what's going on at home. They want to be able to send money home seamlessly, without. They want to be able to buy properties. They want to be able to pay school fees for, And so it's not enough to just say, oh, we have a diaspora commission. You must have an engine that drives the relationship between home and diaspora.
Let's look at some of the questions and comments that are coming forth in the course of this interactive session. We have this one. It says, Edo is one of the first states to implement the tax credit scheme. What has been the gains of the program?
It has helped us to increase investments into infrastructure. For instance, we have 2 individuals, right, who, because the amount of tax they pay, right, they can use that tax, get a rebate, and use the tax to build roads, So that road, for instance, from Sapele Road to the ethanol plant is based on the tax credit of one of the investors.
Okay. We have this question. It says, I think we've looked at this question before. Could just flip up. Okay. Your Excellency, you have just rolled out the tax waiver scheme for workers earning below the minimum wage.
No, not workers.
Okay.
Entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs. What's the rationale behind this, and what is the expected impact?
You're asking people to increase productivity, right? Somebody who is earning less than 40,000 naira today, a cobbler, a vulcanizer,
a pure water seller.
I mean, it's
unfair.
It's not right. That's putting that tax burden doesn't even help them, do well. It begins to lead to tax avoidance, the cost of even trying to collect, there are other ways to get taxes, if you wanted to. So we're saying let's also encourage the small businesses, people with small businesses, to strive. When they get bigger, when they're doing well, you can now say, okay, maybe a bit more.
All right. Mr. Yeah.
Well, you see, the last question when I ask this, when I come for audience now, sign up with a chair. I call the watch through my phone when I begin to talk about politics and governor being involved, or whether I not get success or whatever. And you see, I never see where a serving governor, where the waka come out, will get some level of percentage to choose a successor. When governor say never get, he not get.
He's saying not get.
When they come back to that place, I need to ask question. Mr. Governor, sir, you say you not get anointed candidate
at this time.
Presently. Primary in February.
And they look everybody.
Everybody.
Maybe you'll get later.
And they look everybody.
I ask a question. Primary in February. That's next month, because tomorrow don't finish, which is next month. And your working relationship with your party people, now it will determine you bringing out somebody or supporting anybody. But you know if you try and give them, say, make una go bring somebody come for me. Because what you put for ground, and the party people, the interest of politicians, it might be different from the interest of some areas where you understand. And the bring person come for you, and they line with how to sustain, which you don't put for ground, you go support.
I'm not saying my party people be like that. My party people won't win election. And they don't go, and they don't get sense. Many of them, when they go out now, they thank them, say, your party, on a party they do well, on a party they do well. Even then, and they tell me, say, governor, we would like make the successor continue, because it just make election easy. Because when you go out now, we say, this now waiting our government do, this now waiting our government do, election not they had again. So many of my party people, I think they aligned. Also, not forget the reason why I not just say, now this person I want. They say, not be me get Edo State, not be only me the government. They get many issues when you go balance. For instance, they say, okay, well they do politics, but we go zone. Some party, our party feels say we don't go zone, or we go zone. Another party say they go zone. So we dey look at how the whole political landscape dey. Not be now you go just say, "Now this person." Oh yeah, and then you start the fight.
Okay, let's take this question from some of the feedbacks we are getting. There was a recent report on capital importation. Edo State ranked low. What do you think of this? And from your privileged viewpoint, what has been the level of foreign direct investment into Edo State?
Well, sometimes that's why I say I try not to focus on some of these numbers, because you don't know where they're coming from and the basis on which they've. When I sit here and I'm seeing investments, right? I'm seeing, just take real estate for instance. See the amount of investments that have come into real estate. There's no road we open up before you know what they've sold up on the land and in place. So where is that coming from? Is it from inside or from outside?
From inside.
I mean, I'm seeing, I mean, most times now, I can't even travel with my full complement of staff because all the flights are sold out, coming in. What are these people coming to do? Are they not coming with money? So when you tell me that foreign investment is low, I say, okay, if it is low with all of these people coming in, with all of these investments in real estate, when it becomes high, I wonder what this place would look like. It would look like El Dorado.
Okay. Well, let's quickly look at this question. It says, compliments of the season, Your Excellency. What's Your Excellency doing to ensure that youth take advantage of your ESO program?
Yes. What we're doing, we're talking to the investors, to say, look, we must have a very robust outgrower program or smallholder program where from the lots, the land we've given them, we must now cut out areas and give people. So if you want to invest in 5 hectares of oil palm in Olewo, you can come, for instance, and you'll be given that allotment. And the main holder will help you, give you good seedlings, help you access to finance, and buy back from you what you have grown. And why would they do it? Because you may just be a much more efficient grower than they are. So yes, we are encouraging young people.
It is not encouraging monoculture, which many environmentalists are saying discourages diversity and creates environmental challenges.
No, what we've done, if you don't forget that the land we're given and lands that have been degraded, that have been deforested, and will take we may not be able to grow back that level of forest, but we need to have green cover. So yes,
yes. One last one, Your Excellency. You have done so well in giving palliatives to Edo-lites by way of free buses and all that. I was looking forward to any form of palliative again, just maybe before the elections.
Well, I think the biggest palliative is to put in place systems that will help people produce, because that's more sustainable. Okay? We're putting palliatives because of the shocks that people didn't expect. But once things stabilize, you want to do more to encourage people to produce and stand on their feet, and not just say giving them that.
All right, on the final note, Your Excellency, what's your legacies? Politics, economy, governance? Because there's some who say, oh, His Excellency, his style of politics is a bit disruptive from the APC into the PDP, and now we're going into an election here. On the final, maybe 1 minute.
In terms of the politics, I think my legacy is that, look, you know what? Politics, the kind of politics that doesn't support development is bad politics. It cannot be politics for the politicians alone. Politicians are in politics for the people. So any politics that just focuses on just sharing amongst the people who are in there in office is not, So I believe that my legacy will be that, you know what, more, the politics will begin to play going forward. There's politics involving fair distribution of resources, politics that encourage people to invest and grow wealth for the benefit of. In terms of the economy, I think the results are out there. We've set the basis, the foundation for a major industrial and commercial growth of Edo State.
Right. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Edo State Governor Godwin Nogegase Obaseki. It's been a very, very exciting moment here, having this conversation with you. We hope to have this privilege again to engage you as we make progress, particularly as we move towards the 2024 election. I want to say big thanks to all my colleagues here from Edo Broadcasting Service. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure being here, and it's also a rare privilege having His Excellency on the same stage with us.
Okay, and of course, Nusa Idile Obede from
Sonny Duke, thank you very much. And Mr. Governor, thank you very much. I will speak correct English for this one. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
We also want to say big thanks to Big Madam. Yeah, let me put it that way. Ameza Igebo. She's backstage now, and I think she's very satisfied with what we've done here today and the investment in me particularly. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, last word?
Thank you, Sonny. I'm really, really grateful to all Edo people for the support I've received these last 7 years. I'm very, very excited. I'm glad with what we have achieved as a state. I was at the Victor Waifo Creative Hub last night to watch Charlie Poppy. I mean, looking at those kids there last night, wow. I felt fulfilled.
Interesting.
These kids, yes, these kids are not looking at talking about traveling anymore. They're now home expressing their creative instincts.
Thank you very much. That's where we call it a wrap on this special interactive session. Thank you, everyone, for making this a huge success. And to you watching at home, thank you for staying with us. Happy New Year in advance, and bye for now.
Compliments of the day. Today, I want to talk about Governor Godwin Obaseki and some of his strategic programs designed for the betterment of Edo State and our people. The governor's achievements in the agriculture sector are transformative. In the past 7 years, the governor's strategic approach to governance has created a conducive climate that has attracted over $1.5 billion worth of investment into Edo State, including $500 million in the ESOP program. South Africa Integrated Farms has injected over $250 million with 2 ethanol processing facilities. Edo currently has the largest oil palm plantation program in Africa, with an aggregation of 120,000 hectares of land marked for progressive cultivation, while over 70,000 hectares is already in use. Edo State is today the most connected state digitally in Nigeria and operates the most digitalized civil and public service in the country, with all local governments connected to fiber optics. The Edo State runs an e-governance system, and on September 1st, 2023, it became the first state in the country to have completely shifted to a digital mode of administration. In its quest to diversify its source of income and complete reliance on all receipts from the federal government, Edo State is looking inwards to develop its tourism industry, a tourism and cultural hub destination that brings together a rich mix of cultural heritage, art forms, historical sites, and traditional ways of life have been designed. Recently, the Edo State government sealed a deal with Radisson Hotel, an international hotel chain headquartered in the United States, for the construction of a 172-room hotel in Benin City to support the imminent tourism